Howdy, Austin here with the Flxpoint team. Thank you for tuning into this demo video. Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about us and give you a tour of our app. But first, let's dive into a quick overview of Flxpoint before we jump into the tool. Flxpoint is an e-commerce operations platform that helps automate your supply chain with your sales channels to help you sell at scale without manual processes and custom development slowing you down. Now let's dive into Flxpoint's core functionality by going over our 6 pillars. Our first pillar is our supplier, vendor, and warehouse integrations. This is where we are able to connect pretty much every supplier, distributor, brand, vendor, or warehouse that you use to source products from. This could either be by our no-code integration builder, our various pre-built third-party integrations, our 240 plus pre-built supplier integrations, or our API and EDI custom integrations. Our second pillar is our modern day PIM, or product information management. Our PIM functionality helps our Flxpoint users augment and curate a perfect product catalog from their fulfillment sources to provide product availability for pushing to their sales channels. We call this our modern day PIM due to the very sophisticated settings and workflows you can set up for almost any edge case that you run into with a large catalog creation. Our third pillar is our inventory availability or inventory automation. This pillar is a foundation of our services. This is where we automate your inventory and quantities across all your fulfillment sources and keep them up to date throughout the day to your sales channels to ensure you are only selling in-stock products. Our fourth pillar is our multi-channel listing management. With having an e-commerce automation software, you need to make sure you are connected to all of your sales channels. We integrate with the top sales channels such as Shopify, WooCommerce, Amazon, Walmart, and many more. Also, not one price fits all. Within Flxpoint, you can be hands-on with specific products and pricing you want to push to each of your individual sales channels. We also have B2B functionality for all of you that sell to other businesses by providing reseller portals, reseller feeds, and everything that has to go in with B2B reseller management. Our fifth pillar is our distributed order management. Another very powerful operation in our Flxpoint tool, our distributed order management is where you can set up very specific and robust if-then rules to fully automate your order importing and your order routing. We also provide tooling for cross-docking, transfer orders, and even shipping label generation. Our last pillar is our invoice and accounting automation. Flxpoint helps integrate your invoices automatically to reconcile and report on sales profitability. And at the same time, we can sync all order data back to your accounting software. Let us handle and automate your tedious back-end business operations. Now that we have gone over our 6 core services, let's go through 2 very common workflows before jumping into the app. First, let's show the product listing side. Here on the left-hand side, you have your supply chain and fulfillment sources. We will first integrate these sources for you, then start importing your product data and inventory. Once that is complete, we will leverage our PIM to build the best product catalog possible. And then lastly, we will help automate the push to your various sales channels. Now here's another common workflow for the ordering side. We bring in all of your orders throughout the day into Flxpoint from your sales channels. We then look at your order routing rules to fully optimize your order fulfillment and then automatically submit these purchase orders over to your fulfillment sources based off of all of the workflows and settings that you have set up. We can also send orders to your accounting system as well. Once tracking is updated from your source, we will automatically send that all the way back to the order on your sales channel. And lastly, we will integrate your invoices to show profitability on your e-commerce orders. All right, enough of the animations. Let's show you Flxpoint in action. All right, I'm currently logged into app.flxpoint.com. Here on this demo account, you can see I'm on my main dashboard. And today I'm going to go ahead and start out by setting up our vendor or supplier sources. So again, this is the left-hand side of the equation where we are setting up the integration and we want to start pulling in product data, setting up operations for sending over purchase orders, getting back shipment tracking, getting invoices, sending over accounting, a whole bunch of different operations I'm going to show here. So here on the left-hand side, I'm going to go to my sources section. And here on the sources section, you can see all of the different sources that I have set up. A bunch of different dropship suppliers, rich content, 3PL, warehousing. Up here in the top section, you can actually see all of the different operations that we're doing to get either inventory, send over purchase orders, getting back shipment tracking, getting invoices, and a whole bunch more as well if we need to set up individual operations per a supplier. So again, as you can see here, all the different ways that we integrate. Whenever I go into one of the suppliers, you can see a handful of different settings. The main section here is setting up these integrations. So for instance, for this dropship supplier, I'm going to go to my primary integration, which is get inventory. This is getting not just inventory, but full product data. As you can see, we're already connected, configured, and map. Just going to go ahead and show you how we're connected. This one integration is going through inventory source. I can change the integration if I would like to, but we're going to stick with inventory source. Save and proceed. We already have the settings figured out. And then we have a mapping template hooked into this specific supplier. So again, you have a bunch of different vendors and suppliers that might not be integrated with inventory source. We don't have a default mapping template. You'll need to customize the mapping template. So that means mapping in where we're pulling in title, description, brand, things like that. And then once that's set up once, you can reuse it as many times as you would like. One of the cool things about setting up a vendor integration here is when I turn on the integration, I can actually set up different workflows based off of how I want to pull in the product data. So maybe exclude certain items or exclude certain data fields. I'm going to save and complete this. And then I'm also going to show you how to schedule an integration. And this is when we can get really hands-on with how we're pulling in the data for this supplier. So we're doing it every day at a specific time. I'm going to run it right at 9 a.m. Instead of doing that, let's do it every hour. Let's do it down to every 5 minutes. Maybe let's do it on a specific day at a specific time. So you can get very granular with when we're pulling in data for this supplier. Same goes hand in hand with sending over purchase orders, getting back shipment tracking, getting invoices. You can set all that up and be as granular as you would like. Once we run this integration, I'm going to go to the product section. And as you can see here, this is where we are pulling in products from all of those different sources when I set up those operations. You can see the sources side on the left-hand side here. One thing here is you can actually filter off of these different statuses and sources, but the cool thing is you can actually make as many saved filters as you would like. So you can actually create saved filters here and leverage our filter built-in here. One of the really cool things is we expose pretty much all data points. So you can pull off of any data point that you would like. So you can see here, we're pulling in these products. I want to then push products from my source inventory to my product catalog to then get them into channel listings and onto my sales channel. So I'm going to, go find this, the products that I just pulled in, maybe, again, off of some of these saved filters, select them. I can select over 50 on this page. So I can actually select every single product if I'd like. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to create products. I can then just create products here, not have to worry about it. And we're going to be creating products. But just to show you the PIM side of things. So again, here on Flxpoint, we do help with product information management. This is our builder product catalog. You might be working with a bunch of dropship suppliers that have, duplicate products. Maybe we want to look off of UPC or MPN to find those duplicate products and to combine those products. From there, we have a whole bunch of different settings, maybe identifying mismatching, setting up how to rebuild products, archiving, duplicate SKU settings. One of the big things here is this source priority setting. And this is identifying, what data we want to pull this, really the top level data for a duplicate product. So if I have a duplicate product, where are we going to pull titles from, which supplier, where are we going to pull descriptions from, again, which supplier. So as you can see here, I can pull up, drag and drop, who's my priority. And then I can get even granular with, the description I want to pull from this other supplier. And then if there's another duplicate supplier and I know that they have great categories, I'm going to pull that from this supplier as well and just drag and drop any supplier per field. So I can go ahead and create those products and run this builder. Products are then going to flow into my product catalog. This is pretty much your holistic product catalog from all your different sources, and you can actually see what statuses if they're linked into certain sales channels, so you know which ones I'm pushing over. Again, it's the same process of selecting the products, create listings, and then from here, you're able to choose the channel. From here, you're just creating the channel listings in Flxpoint. You're not actually pushing it to your sales channel until you run either a sync or publish operation right up here. The big thing here is, do you want us to sync to existing products, or do you want us to actually create brand new products into your sales channel? So that's one thing that a lot of people don't do. We actually create products on your sales channel. But again, a lot of people have products already listed on their sales channel, and we just need to sync up to them. What we do is our price quantity status updates. Those are our daily updates. You can actually turn on price updates. You can turn off price updates. You can turn on quantity updates. You can turn them off. A whole bunch of different ways of being hands-on from that approach. So again, this is where you manage your catalog and everything for those specific supplier sources. Now that we have these sources set up, I'm actually going to go over and look at our channels. So this is now the right-hand equation. These are all of our sales channels that we're selling products on. So here in the sales channel section, you can see obviously syncing products to Amazon, getting back orders from Amazon, publishing products to Amazon, and syncing orders. So getting back shipment tracking. I can set up Shopify, Miva, BigCommerce, maybe the API, a bunch of different ways that we can integrate. Again, whenever I set up these when I set up these channels, I go to the integrations and I can be, again, granular with how it's connected, scheduling time for syncing, coming in and customizing pricing and quantities, different statuses, things like that. Again, being hands-on with how we're pushing over data to your sales channels. So whenever we hook these in, right, we're pushing products over the sales channels. When orders come in, we can go ahead and go to the order section here. So here in the order section, this is your main holistic order management section. This is where we're pulling in orders from all your different sales channels. We can automate this process as much as possible, or we can be a little bit hands-on. It's all completely up to you. But once an order comes in, it's going to come in as opened. We then need to process that order over. For some of these orders, you can see all of the data that we're pulling in: shipping, billing, line items, channel invoices, like your receipt from your sales channel. This order as actually kind of go through the full process. So once it came in, we automatically generated a purchase order. We sent that over to this specific dropship supplier. They acknowledged it. They shipped it. Here in the fulfillment section, you can see the tracking number that we pulled in. And the cool thing about this supplier, they provide us invoices that we can ingest into Flxpoint. And you can see those invoices here, which at the bottom shows you a profitability report. So I'll show the profitability report a little bit later in this video, but this is the full cycle of this order. So again, the order comes in, we then transfer it over to a purchase order fulfillment request. Any order that's in here means we have successfully, or actually went ahead and identified what source to send this order to, and then we have sent that order over, and you can see all the statuses. One last thing to note is we do have transfer orders. If you utilize dropship suppliers to buy in bulk to send to another source hooked into Flxpoint, a lot of people like to leverage those for reordering bulk purchases. So you might be wondering, whenever an order comes in, how are we identifying what supplier to send that purchase order over to? Well, I'm going to go to my settings section. I'm going to go to orders. As you can see here, we've got different functionalities and settings where we can set up workflows based off of importing orders, how we're bringing in invoicing, what type of strategy we're doing for purchase order numbers. We actually just integrated shipping labels, so you can actually purchase a shipping label and send that over to your supplier. We know a lot of people are looking for that, sending over an email of that shipping label so your supplier can print it out and slap it on the box. We actually do rate shopping as well. The one thing that I want to show is the order routing setting rules. This is the powerful part of Flxpoint, and this comes into the distributed order management side of, once an order comes in, let's look at these different if-then workflows and then send those orders over to these different groups. So let's go into like a really easy one right here. This one specifically with a brand. So if an order comes in, the brand equals SIG, then we're going to send that over to the SIG routing group. So this is just pretty much saying order comes in, goes to this brand, let's send it to this group. So I'm going to go up to that group here. And as you can see, we have two very important things on this routing group. We have routing priorities, and then we have preferred sources. So right now, my top routing priority is a preferred source. And down here, I only have one enabled, and that is my warehouse. So what this means is if an order comes in for this brand, I know I hold this brand in my warehouse. I only want to send this order to my warehouse, and I don't want to send it anywhere else. And we're going to keep it right here. So this is a really easy general, one use case that we solve. Let's go ahead back and let's look at like a default routing group. So again, these are all the different use cases. The default routing group is what goes into hand if the if statements on any of these aren't accepted by the order. So here in the default routing group, we're going to enable pretty much all of our suppliers. And what I'm going to do for my top priority is I'm going to do a single source. So if an order comes in, let's say that order has 3 different line items. I'm drop shipping. So I don't want to send that order to 3 different suppliers, if it's lowest cost at 3 different supplier locations, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to lose money on shipping. A lot of times that's a big use case in the drop shipping world. So I'm going to always try to send the order to a single source. So if it has those 3 items and one specific supplier, we're going to try to send it to that supplier. So once we've identified that, then I'm going to go to the next priority and go, okay, well, what's the lowest cost supplier? If it's that supplier, we're going to choose that supplier. If there's a specific margin you want to set up, so if something, for instance, lowest cost between 2 different suppliers is less than 5%, and we're kind of like, well, you're not really making money off of that. I'd rather just go to a preferred supplier. Well, here you can, again, drag and drop, what supplier is your preferred supplier and which one's not. I have my own warehouse here because my shipping is cheaper if I just ship out of my own warehouse. So in an ideal situation, I can fulfill every product through a single source. My lowest cost is at the warehouse and it's my preferred. But again, you can drag and drop these different routing priorities and drag and drop your preferred sources. So again, from an ordering perspective, once we bring in these orders, we fulfill it through a supplier, we send back the shipment tracking automatically. You can be as hands-off as possible when it comes to this ordering side. The big thing here is the invoices and ingesting that from your different sources. As you can see, we have some suppliers that provide invoices, and we can actually associate that with the specific line items. And then what's really important is whenever I go to my reports, so here on the left-hand tab, we're in the product section, orders sections, you can see the invoices that are pulled in. You can set up your sources, set up your channels. One thing that I didn't know is the reseller section. So this is if you're doing B2B and you actually have other sales channels, not just a Shopify or an Amazon. You'd rather have like a subdomain portal for your reseller portal. You can set that up here and you can actually onboard resellers. That's one thing to note. Another thing to note too is we do have a vendor portal as well. So the reseller portal is for you selling products to other businesses. The vendor portal is for your mom and pop or small suppliers or vendors to log into your Flxpoint account to then upload their products, pull in their orders, get back shipment tracking. So we have vendor portal on both sides of the spectrum. On the left side with sources is the vendor portal. On the right side with channels, it's the reseller portal. And again, lastly, going into the reports, we have a profitability report, we have a product performance report, and we have a vendor fulfillment report. The big thing here, especially if you are integrating invoices, is the order profitability report. So I'm going to jump into that. And as you can see here on the profitability report, we're pulling in invoices down here on the bottom. You can see that all the orders have been closed out and fully progressed through our progression. And as you can see here, you can see different profits off of the different day. You can set up a date range, period that you're looking at, as well as, what's the most and least profitable, different margins, things like that. So again, very important to make executive decisions on the products and suppliers that you're working with and really showing, what profit you are making. We know in the dropshipping model, it's kind of hard to understand if you are actually making profit on orders. Well, this is where we bring it full circle. We're not just automating the product data and the ordering side of things, but we're also automating the invoices to show profitability for you as well. So again, that's about everything when it comes to the app. There's so much more that I could show you. I'm going to try to wrap this video up very quickly. Lastly, go ahead, head over to flexpoint.com. Here in the platform section, you can see a little bit more about the different pillars that I went over today in videos. You can actually go see all of our pre-built connectors and integrations through Flxpoint. We integrate with pretty much all of the major players in the e-commerce space. And then lastly, you can go ahead and check out our pricing as well. If you're really interested to get on a demo or a call or just an email thread with our company, definitely go to the contact us page. I would highly suggest requesting a demo with the team. One thing that we love to do is we actually love to set up a demo catered and prepared specifically for your company once you fill out that form. And we'll have everything set up to show exactly, what you're going to be going through if you do become a Flxpoint user. So one very important thing that we do for you on our Flxpoint demos. Thank you so much for joining in today. Appreciate the time.